Okay, well, thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Uruwei, for having us on today, having me on today. It's a pleasure. It is an honor. I am Agatha Lambey. I am a child of the soil. I was born here in Dangriga town. My parents are the late Deacon Alvin Lambey, and my mom is Eleanor Castillo Lambey. And about 4 years ago, I returned to my country here of Dangriga after living abroad for over 40 something years. And I came back to start a church called Agape International Ministry of Dangriga, Belize, as well as, and in conjunction with Mental Health Advocates Dangriga, we saw that there was a need in our community to fill in some of the gaps that were left open in our community or in need of resources and services for our community. And so myself, Dr. Paulette, and Nadisha Lewis, Nurse Nadisha, she's a psychiatric nurse here at Southern Regional Hospital. We came together to start Mental Health Advocates Dangriga. So that is who I am. I am so honored to be here, and thank you for having me, Uruwei.
Good evening. Happy Independence Day. Happy Independence Day. When I realized that we were going to be on the show on the 21st, I'll tell you exactly what came to my mind. The song God's Goodness Gave This Land to Me to Honor and to Love. So when I think about Belize, those are the thoughts that come to my mind. Of all the earth, there's none so free, say those who leave this cove. So, happy Independence Day, everyone. So, I am Paulette. Um, I am a Garifuna woman from Dangriga. I am a licensed psychologist in the state of Idaho. Yes, the potato state, all the way in the northern part of the U.S. I I'm from Dangriga, and I currently live in Dangriga. I would say I go there like 4 to 5 times a year. But I spend a lot of time in Boise, Idaho. I grew up in Southern Foreshore. I know a lot of you might know my mom and my dad, Salome, Miss Sally, and Mr. Agustin Flores, um, my pals. And um, I have a passion for mental health, and I also have a passion for culture. And so, one of the things that we have done as a part of mental health advocates is to kind of marry the two things, right? Mental health and culture. And I love Dangriga. I love the people of Dangriga. And so, what more than to share what you have with the people that you love? And so, providing mental health care is something that we strive to do. Um, I love that we're doing this show to again use an opportunity to communicate to the people of Anriga what we do and how we can provide assistance when it comes to mental health. Um, I also like the idea of talking, being a part of the show as well, because mental health is something that we don't talk about, right? So much stigma attached to it, but it is a conversation that we need to have.
Mhm.
When I think about mental health, I think about if you're not taking care of your head, we always got our hair all fixed up, but we need to go beyond the hair thing.
Right.
Who would take care of that? So I think those are some of the things we want to talk about this afternoon. Just talking about how we can promote mental health and mental wellness. Yes.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for that introduction, Dr. P. I realized that my microphone was off. I want to thank you, Jerry. Thank you for those of you who've been hammering at my door and I'm not hearing you guys. I'm not seeing anything. This is what I love about community, all right? Because This is you guys online, you tapped in right now. You're the ones who make this show happen. So thank you again for helping a brother out. Just give me some thumbs up. I think you can hear me now. I sort out that audio issue. Say yes, we can hear you. Give me a thumbs up just in case. I'm confident that you guys can. Um, I'm very pleased to have both of you here. This is a topic that is near and dear to my heart. And those of you, thank you guys for the thumbs up so they can hear me. I want to remind all of you we're on YouTube as well. So if you want to put this on your smart TV, make it a family event, a family oriented event, because I know that there's a lot we're going to learn this evening. There's a lot we will be inspired by. So it is truly an honor to have both of you here to talk about mental health. What I want to first touch on is what brought you together. This is a twofold question. What brought you together and what made you create this organization, Mental Health Advocates?
Yes.
Naming the name, but a prominent person here in Dangriga at one of the high schools. She knew Dr. Paulette, and I was introducing myself to her and the resources that I wanted to bring into the community. And so she connected us, Dr. Paulette and myself, as individuals that have the same interests, wanted to do the same, provide the same types of resources and services to our community. And so it started as providing, it was really for the employees of that particular school to just have a place, a safe place for them to come and talk to someone. Because, even though we might think we're okay, we're functioning on a day to day basis, doing our jobs, living our lives, sometimes life can become stressful. So they wanted to provide an employee assistance service to their teachers, and so went, we came together. I'm sorry, to be able to provide that. And it evolved from there because we saw that there was a need for the larger community to also provide these resources for the community as far as mental health services are concerned. And so, again, someone introduced us to not Dr., but Nurse Nadisha. And the
Mhm.
three of us together put our heads together, put our passion for mental health together, and the rest is history, as they say. That was how Mental Health Advocates Dangriga was birthed. And it has now evolved into having, we have maybe about 8 or 9 individuals. Some are mental health professionals. We have licensed clinical social workers, therapists, clinical psychologists, Dr. Paulette. We have teachers, we have nurses, we have just individuals who have a passion for mental health. And then now we have also started to put together a mental health and wellness community where individuals can just join that WhatsApp chat, and we share information, we encourage each other, we affirm each other. We are each other's mental health community. And it has been so awesome to see how those that are a part of that community have just really, I think we're better. Sometimes we just need a community, sometimes we just
Got it.
need that support. And we have become that for each other. Some days we might wake up and we are just feeling down and depressed, and then some, or sad, for instance. We're trying not to get to depression, right? We're trying not, and we're going to talk about the levels of mental health and mental illness ultimately. But some days we wake up and we're just not feeling that great. But we
Mm-hmm.
click onto our WhatsApp and we find someone sharing a post that just uplifts us, it encourages us, and then now we can just breathe and go on and tackle the rest of our day, right? And so that was how we got started. And that was in 2022. And here we are, 2025, and we are still going strong and stronger. So that is how we got started.
That is amazing. That is amazing. I love that. Tell me, Dr. P, do you want to add to this?
No, I think Pastor Agatha covered it very well. Because that covers how we got together. Yes.
Very well. So, being here in Dangriga, you're familiar with the culture, you're familiar with with the politics of our nation. When you look at the community at large, what do you see in terms of, and let me say why I'm asking this question is because, and we have had this conversation before where I mentioned that sometimes people think that mental health or people that are mentally unsound are just those people on the streets with rags and talking to themselves. But mental health goes way, way beyond that. Ordinary people with with mental illness is are in leadership position, right? So what do you see in our community or the communities here in Dangriga where you can identify issues that stem from a mental health or mental illness issue problem?
So I could jump in and answer that. So one of the things we talked about in preparation for this presentation is the whole idea that mental health advocate focuses on we start with preventative care in the sense of how can we maintain mental wellness, right? So mental wellness is one's ability to try and take care of their mental health in order to deal with life stressors, in order to deal with the problems that are encountered in life. So you do not have to be diagnosed with any kind of mental illness to want mental wellness. Everyone
Mm,
should strive for mental wellness. And so that is our one of our primary objectives. How do we help to create mental wellness for the citizens of Dangriga? And one of the things we've decided to do is like every month we have a newsletter. Every month we have a monthly discussion that focuses on different issues having to do with mental health. And the goal of that is to know that you're a part of a mental wellness community, but
mm,
also to increase your knowledge base, right? So that you will know that because you feel sad sometimes doesn't mean that you're depressed, or because you're feeling a little anxious right now because you're worried about how your family is doing doesn't mean that you have anxiety,
mm-hmm,
anxiety disorder. The goal is we want to make sure that everybody in Namibia, as much as possible, has an idea about what mental wellness looks like. So that is where we started, right? So one of the main goals is provide mental health awareness about mental wellness. The other things that we've done also is that you talk about different people at different levels. So mental wellness is for everybody, but then of course you have people who might be diagnosed already. You know, they have
mm-hmm,
depression or they have anxiety, or they have people who are walking on the streets who have mental illness, um, and they've had like mental breaks. So you have different levels of mental issues in the community. One of the things we talked about as well with Agatha is we want to look at what does mental wellness when you're having problems, what does that look like in our community? Just to break the stigma, just so that everybody who is listening and everybody is aware, all of us to some degree, level of mental difficulties going on. Because we do, right? We do.
absolutely.
And that's why we need to have this our conversation we should have every day,
Mm-hmm,
because we all to some degree struggle with maintaining our mental wellness. We struggle. Um, and so more of us working together as a team, more of us working together as a group will help um, with taking care of each other and teaching each other how to create mental wellness. I don't know if that answers, but um,
it's good that you talked about the preventative aspect of mental health to avoid um to avoid getting to that point where you break down. Now, specifically, when you look at Dangriga on a whole, do you see any issues, anything that you can identify because of, you might say, a certain behavior or a certain behavioral pattern is due to this? And if we pay attention to that aspect of the mental health aspect of what we're dealing with, we could avoid, those type of issues. Have you identified any type of problem that you see that is because of mental illness of any sort?
Okay, you could jump. Yes, you could go ahead.
No, both of you or any of you. For example, if you look at a community and you say that within this community, there's a certain way of thinking, there's a certain attitude, there's a certain behavior. For example, I was across from Carl Ramos Stadium some months ago, and there was a school out there, and this child, no more than 12 years old, I assume he's probably in standard six, in uniform, and he is angrily throwing blows, right? There's this teacher holding him, and this is a heavy-set teacher that, you know, he can hold his child. But the child is really fighting to go at this girl for what I don't know. So I looked at it and I said, wow, this child is angry. And immediately when I had that thought in my head, I then wondered, why is he so angry? Like, why a child, 11 years old, could get so angry? So I observed something like that in our communities. We have a situation um, happening whereby people feel that they're being discriminated against. And then you have another, on the other side, you have individuals who are saying that, but what about the work ethics? Are these people, what about so do you see any aspect of, because I don't want to just say mental health and then people just get caught up in the whole idea of clinical mental health, and there are so many dimensions to it. Let me allow you to comment.
Absolutely. To speak to the scenario that you gave about the little boy, the 12-year-old, 11-year-old young man, um, this behavior may be an indication that he is dealing with maybe some trauma. Obviously, the aggressive behavior comes from somewhere. And a lot of it, and I'm just throwing that out there. I don't know specifically who this person is. I don't know their background or their lifestyle, but we don't just act in a certain way for no reason. We
Right.
behave in certain ways because of circumstances, situations that we have experienced in our lives. And an 11 or 12-year-old that is that angry may be dealing with some behavioral issues. So there's mental health diagnoses, and then there are behavioral issues. There's attention deficit hyperactive disorder. There is he obviously has an anger management issue. He's maybe impulsive. Just the symptoms speak to a behavioral issue, not
Mm-hmm.
necessarily maybe a mental health issue, but it may be more behavioral. And that may be in response to some things that have happened in his life where he has not learned. And a lot of even adults don't know how to manage their behavior. And so that I want to say that in reference to what you mentioned about this individual. But also, I
Mm-hmm.
want to go back to where we started, where you were asking about, I believe you said that there are those that are we see walking around the streets. So there are levels, let's say, levels to mental health. Mental health is something that we have to do on a day-to-day basis, taking care of our mental health and wellness, doing the self-care things, doing the not allowing stress to overwhelm us, not
Mm-hmm.
allowing maybe the things that happen in our lives to overwhelm us, such as grief and loss. We are going to experience things in our lives, but how we cope with them in a healthy or unhealthy manner is what will make the difference, right? And so the people that we see now walking around the streets, especially some of these young men, and then I also want to say in regards to that, that they may not have started out with mental health or a mental illness, but what may have occurred as a result of maybe using drugs, alcohol, things of that nature, mostly drugs, and really the marijuana that we see a lot of our young people using. Again, it could be for to cope, but now we're seeing them as a result of that smoking and again challenges in their lives. We are now seeing psychosis. We are now seeing behaviors uh, due to schizophrenia or a break in reality. So it's just levels to mental health and then mental illness. And many of us struggle with our mental health because we do not take care of ourselves. As we start to see maybe something going on in our lives, we're feeling a little down, sad, depressed. Maybe we're feeling anxiety, and like Dr. P said, we have those moments, or maybe a day or two here or there. But it's when you start to have anxiety every day, even when there's no reason to be anxious, or you are sad almost every day. Now we're looking at depression, and so there are levels to it, and how we deal with it initially. I like to use this analogy about mental health, utilizing our physical health. So when we maybe we wake up today and we have the sniffles or a little bit of cough, that's an indication that we're probably about to get sick, right? But
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna power through. We're gonna go through our day, do what we need to do. We're not gonna really do anything to take care of it. So we don't do anything, and then tomorrow we get up. Now we have the body aches. Now we have the headache, and now we have fever. It's getting worse, and then we don't do anything again tomorrow, and the next day we don't do anything, and then now we have to be in the hospital because we can't breathe. We have pneumonia. Well, that is the same thing with mental health and mental illness. We start off not feeling well mentally. We're struggling because some challenges have happened, and we're just not quite feeling well. We're not feeling like ourselves. But if we don't do anything initially to address it, maybe talk to someone, or just start to maybe think of what can I do to take care of myself?
Mm-hmm.
How can I help myself with the self care kind of things, and giving ourselves some grace, and just those little things can help us. Affirmations, things of that nature. Maybe listening to some calming music, or I pray. That's my go-to. That's what I do to maintain my mental wellness. But praying, meditation. You have the yoga, Uruwei. So if we don't take care of our mental health, now we are possibly on the road to developing a mental illness. So we have to start right where we are, checking in with ourselves. What is going on with me? How am I feeling? Am I coping with my circumstances, with my situation? Am I dealing with it in a healthy way? Because we can deal with it, but we may not be dealing with that situation in a healthy manner. We're now developing some other problems where we're depending on maybe substances, or depending on things like partying all the time. And forgive me, I know there's a lot of partiers, but partying all the time as a way to escape maybe life and dealing with life. And so I just wanted to say that is that, and that this is across the board, not just here in our community, but I know we are talking about our community. I think a lot of times what has happened, even in the past, is that we have not dealt with the things that have happened in our houses, the trauma. We say things like what happens in my house stays in my house, and we
Mm-hmm.
don't deal with it. And now we have a generation of people that are struggling with their mental wellness because of things that happened to them, and it was never addressed or dealt with. So I wanted to say that about what you were asking us about.
Thank you very much. We have a comment here, but before I go to that comment, so what I'm hearing from you is, which I understand, we should be just like how we go to the gym, just like how we eat daily. Try to have our fruits, try to have our greens, our veggies to keep the physical body healthy. Um, do exercises. Likewise, mental health should be a thing that you do every day to have the best of mind. Is that,
Yeah.
Can
am I
I
right
can I
by
jump
saying
in?
that?
Yeah. And
Sure.
you know, a lot of the things that you just mentioned
Hmm.
are things that one can do to maintain their mental health. So exercising, giving yourself grace, going for walks, um, spending time in a healthy social environment, spending time around people that are encouraging, positive. Pastor Agatha talked about praying, um, doing hobbies, engaging in hobbies. Some people might have a mentor that they could work with to do things. All of those things are ways of maintaining mental wellness. So it doesn't require like, man, I have to learn how to do this move, or I have to go to a special class to learn to do these things. The good thing about where we live, how we live, those things are already a part. And we got a beautiful place. I mean, even going by the beach
Sure.
could be
Sure is.
could be a way of calming oneself. You don't have to go
Mm-hmm.
far. You go up the road and you're there by your farm. That one another way of interacting with nature. That is also a way of helping to calm stuff, because the goal is, how can I, to some degree, find relaxation just to think things through? How can I
Mm-hmm.
have that interpersonal relationship with somebody where it's not always chaos, right? How can I relax my brain a little bit? And that could be by reading, it could be by listening to music, all of those. And those are things that we do all the time, but making it intentional, making it such that you say, you know what, I did do this for a particular
Right.
reason,
Right.
so that I could
It's
find
the
that calm
exercise
and
that
that
we talk
peace.
about. The
Exactly,
exercising
exactly.
of the mind.
And you don't
Well,
have to be trained in how to do it. You can start by saying, this is what I'm going to do for this reason. I mean, even the things that we eat contribute to our mental health. So earlier you talked about healthy eating, that contributes to our mental health as well. I mean, how
absolutely.
I manage my diabetes contributes to my mental health, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
if I go to the doctor and the doctor said, you know what, Miss Paulette, if you not change how you eat, we have to amputate your leg. That's a mental health issue, right? That's all right. Because what
Absolutely.
that is saying is, if I take my meds, that might help with not getting to that place um, where my leg has to be amputated. That's a mental health issue, right?
Mm-hmm.
So taking your meds can be a mental health strategy as well. You know,
Yeah.
spending time with the kids, you know, going for walks or doing whatever. Again, you don't need to have money for do it. You don't need that a mental health strategy as well. You know, listening to programs like these where you could learn and you could share information as well. That is a part of mental wellness as well, right? Again,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
require money. Um, there are things that we can engage in to help our mental health. You know, all those little things. There are little things that add up to improve our. Having a good support system, again, is another one. You know, having somebody you could talk to um, is also a mental health a strategy to help with mental wellness as well. You know, it doesn't require you having to learn special things in order to implement those strategies or to work towards those things. You know.
Yeah, that's beautifully said. I appreciate that, Dr. P. What are some tools, strategies, and Pastor Agatha, I'm not sure if you wanted to add to that before I
No, no,
continue.
that was good.
Okay, good. What are some tools, some strategies that people could use? Dr. P, you kind of gave some earlier, but that in a more general sense. But if you're being intentional about it, what are some strategies, tools that you would recommend for for our viewers?
So I mentioned a couple, right? So we said
Mm-hmm.
exercise, we said healthy social interaction. I mean, surrounding yourself with people who are positive, supportive, right? You know, if you see somebody that you admire, try getting at a circle to some degree, right? You want healthy interactions. I also encourage to trying to find a therapist if you can. I know sometimes that might be difficult, but it helps when you could talk to a professional and get professional kinds of somebody who is non-biased, because that therapist won't be taking sides like your friend,
Mm-hmm.
right? Okay, your friend like you and your friend want to support you, so your friend will take your side.
Right.
So um, having going to a professional so that you could learn ways of doing things, you could talk about that issue and get different perspectives. That definitely helps. Another thing too is I want to break down this whole idea of exercise. The thing about exercise that makes exercise such a good strategy is that when we exercise, we feel good about ourselves. You know,
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't matter if you're still overweight. It doesn't matter if, but just the fact that you're doing it. And that's a big part of mental wellness, right? That's such a
Mm-hmm.
that's such a big strategy as well. You know, another strategy, of course, will definitely include finding time to rest. You know, many of us just keep going. We just go, 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 go. Uri, I don't know if you fall into that category, right? But just going, 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 going. You got lots of things to do, lots of things to do. Finding time to rest, being intentional about resting, right?
Yeah.
Intentional about
I can
resting.
definitely relate to that. I you're the pick for me, but it's okay.
Can
So
I
being
jump in here?
intentional about resting is important. Were you gonna say something, Pastor Agatha?
Actually, to piggyback off of of what Dr. P is saying about that rest, a lot of times the reason why our mental health is being affected is because we're overwhelmed. We're
Mm-hmm.
not we're not doing the basic things because you could sleep, but you didn't rest. It wasn't a relaxing sleep. We sleep eventually when our bodies say, you have to sleep. But
Mm-hmm.
taking small breaks of resting and just kind of getting away from, especially if you're feeling really anxious or even maybe feeling a little down or sad. One of the things that I recommend to those that I counsel is to start journaling and writing. Some people have that creative part of them where they may draw or they might make music or something to start to get your creative juices going. Some people like to sew. What do you like to do that
Mm-hmm.
helps to calm you, center you, get you to a place where you can get away from all of the chaos of life and all the stress of life? What do you do? Those are some of the intentional things that we can start to look at. And then we talk a lot about self-care. Part of our problem, I think, it's even maybe cultural sometimes, and mostly women. Men maybe too. Well, I'll say women. We don't want to do what we need to do for ourselves because we're busy taking care of everybody else. And that
Mm-hmm.
gives us some self worth. It builds our self esteem to a certain level, to a certain extent. But you cannot give from an empty cup. We talked about this at our mental health first aid. We cannot give what we don't have. And many
Mm-hmm.
of us, excuse me, are trying to give ourselves bits and pieces and parts of ourselves, different places on our job, our family, and so forth. And we're not pouring back into ourselves. We're not filling ourselves up. We're not taking care of ourselves. Self care is not selfish, it's self preservation.
Mm-hmm.
I want to use the
Mm-hmm.
analogy of when we're on the airplane, right? And they tell you and they give the announcement. If the cabin loses oxygen and the mask come down, what is the instruction? Put your mask on first.
First, yes, yes.
Our intentions are pure. We want to help our children. We want to help the elderly. Our intentions are pure. But if you are losing oxygen and you cannot breathe, you can't help anybody,
Mm-hmm.
including yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
the first thing that we have to do on a day-to-day basis, I emphasize this so much, take care of yourself. And I'm not just talking about going and getting a pedicure, getting your hair done. Those are okay. They take care of our outside, yes, and it kind of makes us feel good on the inside. But what are you doing to take care of your inside? What are you doing to take care of your mind? That's
Mm-hmm.
what we need to be able to maintain and do all the things that we need to do on a day-to-day basis. It starts with our mind. So I want to encourage even your audience right now to think about that. What do you do for self-care? What do
Mm-hmm.
you do to take care of yourself? And maybe some of them may want to put it in the chat to give us, some encouragement and some idea of what we can also do. But what do you do for self-care? For me, I just veg on YouTube. When I'm at that point where I just cannot do another thing for another person, I
You
just
take a
go
break.
in my head, huh?
You take a
And
break.
watch some nonsense on YouTube.
Yeah.
Something that don't require any brain power at all. And that helps me because I give a lot. I give out a lot in the different functions that I perform on a day-to-day basis. So I do some it's weird, but I don't know
Mm-hmm.
how to cook, I don't know how to sew, I don't know how to do any of that stuff, and that's work to me. That stresses me out. So I want to do something that requires no brain power whatsoever, but I just want to encourage our audience out there to find something that relaxes you, where you are not
Yeah,
giving to
totally.
anybody else but yourself.
I
Totally.
wanted to add two other coping strategies. Oh, were you going to say something, Roy?
No, no, go ahead. You go ahead.
I was also going to, I like the idea of doing for ourselves. Um, on the other side of that too is sometimes helping others, like do volunteering or finding time to just to reach out to others and provide assistance is also a good way um, self-care as well. Like in our Dangriga community, a lot of elderly folks there, maybe even visiting with somebody, or even calling them just to check how they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, some of us maybe can't get around as quickly or as easily as we would like. So even calling somebody and just checking with them, hey, how are you? Just showing acts of kindness.
Yeah.
A coworker, checking in with a coworker that doesn't seem like they're doing well. Um, though that those little acts also helps our mood, helps us to feel like we're a part of a community, and helps the other person, of course, feel like they're a part of a community as well. Um, because that helps to, for some of us, that helps to rejuvenate our spirit as well. So
Mm-hmm.
a big part of self-care is finding time for self so that you know what works for you. Because if you go on the internet, there are several different things that say, oh, you could use that for coping strategy. But the question is what works for you. Because what works
Mm-hmm.
for you might not work for me. But if I find what makes me tick, what helps me feel better, then that is the important thing. And sometimes the only way I could find that out is by spending time with me. What
Mm-hmm.
works for me? What works for me?
Introspection.
Yep.
No, that's beautiful. Now let me ask this. For those out there that might be saying, yeah, Pastor Agatha, yeah, Dr. Pierre, that song are good, but then when the rubber really meet the road and you're struggling and you have to worry about this and you have to worry about that and you just don't know how to calm this wild monkey. What do you do when the rubber really meets the road? Because, I see what you're saying and I know that these techniques work. But I also know that there are so many people out there who are struggling, who are suffering, and it's so bad that when you can't even make time for your mental health, that that's a serious problem. So what do you say to those people who are really just trying to keep their nose above the water, that they need have time to think about how they could improve their mental health?
And you know what? I want to answer that because that's a scary place to be for anyone. Feeling that feeling of hopelessness or feeling as if though there's no way out of their circumstance. And the pastor in me want to say this: there is an answer and a solution to every situation. It's just figuring out what that is. Worry, anxiety, and fear can overwhelm us to the point where we feel as if though there is no way out. And when you
Mm-hmm.
get to that point, and if you are at that point at this moment, I just want you to stop right now and hear me when I say this. If you are in a place where you just feel helpless, hopeless, like there's no way out, I want you to know in this moment I am praying for you, and let me tell you there is a way out. You just have to believe it. You just have to trust that there is a way, a solution. Now, for those that are feeling that way and are feeling overwhelmed and the pressures and the it's like you one thing happened, something else happens, and before you could even figure out how to deal with this, something else happens, and so it's exacerbated and compounded. And life, as they say, life be lifing, right? Life is gonna
Mm-hmm.
happen.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but and this is the purpose for why we talk about this and talk about mental health and wellness and how to manage and how to prevent and how to try as much as possible to control our emotions and the way we respond, because there's a whole lot of things that we cannot control.
Mm-hmm.
But what we can absolutely try to do and learn to do, because it is learned behavior. Worrying, anxiety, fear, those are learned behavior. We learn that to do that. We learn to worry about everything excessively. I was one. I am not ashamed of it. I was delivered from anxiety. I used to get terrible panic attacks, anxiety attacks. I worried about things I had no business worrying about. I should have just been worrying about myself, but I was worrying about everybody else and everything else. That's the part of that's why I am an advocate of self care. You're
Mm-hmm.
taking care of everybody and everything, and you're not taking care of you. And now I'm like, I am the most self care person. It is about me sometimes, and only
Mm-hmm.
about me. And Dr. P, I agree that we can help our mental wellness by helping others, but sometimes that's what causes us to have mental problems because we're
Yeah, I
volunteering
guess you
to
gotta
do this.
find the balance. You gotta find the balance. Where
And so
Dr. P,
that's
you
what
wanna
we
add to that
do
before
about it.
I have a specific question, but I wanna know
Okay.
if you wanna add to that, Dr. P.
I wanted to add something else to it too, because life does get to that place sometimes where you feel like, you know what, you don't even have the time. You're just so overwhelmed with so many things, and you feel like you can't take that time for your mental health. I always say, remember that you have moments when you're transitioning from that one job to the next job, or like when you're going from work to home. Let's say home is stressful and work is stressful. There is a moment where there's a time when you're going from work to home. That could be your
Mm-hmm.
time for you. That could be the time when you put on the music in the car and you sing along, right? Loud, right?
Right, right.
Or um, when when I think about this job where I used to see like 10 patients a day. Every hour you see a patient, you just dey run to the bathroom, right? Um,
Mm-hmm.
and what I used to do was just going from one patient to the next. I would try and relax my mind or just think about another a time when I was just laughing and smiling and just had fun, when I left at the beach at Dangriga. And
Mm-hmm.
even if I just do that for like 2 minutes, that allowed my brain to take a break from the chaos where I'm in, I've heard people say, people who pray, that they would pray uh, before going on to that other task that they have to do. You know, um, another thing that you can do as well is when you do that job they were so tiring, you to be a parent or whatever, sing when you do it. Find ways.
Mm-hmm.
Those little, they don't have to be big, they don't have to be extensive, they don't have to require like a lot of time. Use
Mm-hmm.
those little moments. Use little moments. Sing while you do it, right? Think about something that will help you laugh. Because the truth is that many times within our jobs, we're not given the opportunity, or we life so chaotic that it feels like we can't take a moment break. But know that there are
Mm-hmm.
moments in between all those chaotic things. How can I find the time to laugh? How can I could even give myself a hug, you know? Self
Yeah.
a hug so time and just say, you know what, Paulette, you're all right. You're all right. Yeah, get better. Yeah, get better. If I
Mm-hmm.
can't get somebody to give me that hug, I could give myself the hug. I could give myself the hug. I could rub my hand there and just feel safe with myself, feel safe with
Mm-hmm.
myself, little, the little things, but those are little things that allows us to connect with ourselves and feel calm in amidst chaos sometimes.
Yeah. Let me ask you both a question.
Mhm.
What would you say to the young man or the young girl, young lady out there right now? Um, just going through it. Like you said, Pastor Agatha, when life is lifing, when this person is really going through it, what's this number one thing? If this is your chance to just give this person a tool to just, you know, take a breath, what would that be?
Okay. So we have given you all some small things that you can do by yourself, but there is a point in time in our when we are experiencing mental health issues to such a degree that those things will not be enough. And this may
Mm,
be the point where you will need to seek professional help. The young people, I encourage you to find a trusted person, someone that you can trust to share your feelings with. And they may not be able to help you as far as treatment is concerned, but what I would recommend for that person that you shared that information with is to find a professional person that you can refer this young person to, because our young people are dealing with so much. And I want to put in
mm-hmm.
a plug this Wednesday. We are going to be talking about that on our mental health discussion this 7 p.m. But what I
Very
would
good.
do is take that step, scary step to take, but you are not alone. Find a trusted adult that you can talk to.
And trusted
Dr.
adults
P?
can, and I think Pastor hit the nail on the head. Know that you do not have to do that journey by yourself, right? There's a reason why you're a young person. It means that you don't know everything. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay. But know that you do not have to take that journey by yourself. There are people in your life that can provide some kind of support. As Pastor Agatha said,
Mm-hmm.
they might not be able to have all the answers for you, but they might be able to point you in the right direction. You know, and sometimes support might just be somebody with a listening ear until you find that professional. Support might just be somebody or a place where you could go where they just got quietness and calmness. It might not always be that that person could solve the problem, because support doesn't always mean that they could solve the problem for you. There are some problems
Mm-hmm.
that have so many layers, you can't fix it in a one session or a couple of sessions, right? But
Mm-hmm.
just being in that place where you feel safe, where you feel, man, I just feel like I could relax right there. I just feel like somebody listening to me. I just, those little things. Find somebody. You do not have to take that journey by yourself.
Yeah. What is your message to anyone that might be interested in finding out more about what you're doing, what you've been doing? What is your number one message?
So I'd like to just, if anyone wants to be a part of our mental advocates, Dangriga team, or just be a part of our wellness, I am a person that you would contact directly. I can give my phone number now, or if you put it in the chat, Uruwei, you can do that, or I
Let
can
me
give my,
let me yeah, give me the number so I could put it on the screen, Pastor Agatha. One second.
yes,
Give
it
me
is
a okay, hold on. Okay, I'm ready.
609
609
0020.
mm-hmm, 20. Okay, so that's the number there on the screen, folks. To find out more about mental health advocates here in Dangriga. Um, we really need to get on board when it comes to caring for ourself, caring for our minds. You know, it's really and truly something we ignore quite a lot. We're oftentimes concerned about the outward appearance, and nothing is wrong with that. Like how both of you have expressed, Pastor Agatha and Dr. P, that that's part of mental health too, looking presentable on the outside. But then it is very important to, work on that mind, that constant, constant going. This we call it in yoga, we call it the wild monkey. The mind is like a wild monkey. It is said that we have over 22,000 thoughts per day. And I often ask myself, my students, how many of those thoughts, what do you think in all, statistically speaking, scientifically speaking, we have over 22,000 thoughts per day. How many of those thoughts are mindful, are like really, because our minds are just we're here in Belize, but our minds are in New York, Chicago, right? So I really appreciate both of you. I appreciate what you're doing, mental health advocates, Dangriga branch. And I want to pledge my support, and I want to ask those of you out there, find out more about this organization, find out more about how you could help. All right. We have about couple minutes remaining, maybe another 5 minutes. Anything? Give your final words, Pastor Agatha, your final words, Dr. P.
Can I
okay.
just say
Well,
something before the final words? Just to
Sure,
say before the
absolutely.
final word. When you talk about thoughts, the other thing you said, you asked your how many of the thoughts are mindful.
Mm-hmm.
Question is, how many of the thoughts are factual? Because I thoughts that well,
That
I'm
is,
angry with that person there. They
yes.
don't they're not even factual, right? I just feel
Yes,
like
you're
they're
right.
lunch. And I want to make you to talk to me, I want
Mm-hmm.
just agree. You think things, right?
Yeah,
That's actually that's again another it's helpful to see a can just interrupt the thoughts that might actually be factual. Not true.
absolutely. No, you're right. And it is said, just to add to that, Dr. P, that when a man or a woman gets angry, it's like drinking poison and expect someone else to die, right?
mhm,
Because anger really kills you.
mhm.
So, I want to allow each and every one of you, both of you, to give our audience your closing remarks. Just summarize the whole mental health advocate initiative and your words to them.
So I want to close by saying this: health, my mental health, your mental health is responsibility. We cannot take that responsibility to others. That is my job to take care of my mental health. Do not abdicate that to anyone else, because everybody else needs to take care of their own mental health as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's part of it, as Dr. P said, it's in our mind, it's in our brain. working overtime, and a lot of it is not real or true. But when you get
Mm-hmm.
to that place where you are feeling as if though your thoughts are racing, you can't you can't find peace, you can't find joy, stop, pause, and figure out, what am I doing? What do I need to do to
Mm-hmm.
correct this? And do not abdicate it to another person. Yes, you may need professional help, but you have to take that step. And Mental Health Advocates is here to help you with your wellness journey. Our mantra is, in the silence, begin the healing. You have to talk to someone about it. Don't keep
Please repeat
everything.
that for me again, your mantra.
It's, in the silence, begin the healing.
In the silence, begin the healing.
And
End the
and
silence.
and
Okay.
even in the silence, but
Yeah, no, I
end,
like that. End the silence, begin the healing. I love
begin the
that.
healing.
Very good.
Yes, yes. Thank you so much for having us on your way. I want to end on that. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Pastor Agatha. Dr. P, your final remarks.
Uh, I just want to continue what Pastor Agatha talked about and saying if you continue more about mental health, hearing more about preventative ways of managing mental health, if you want to continue this journey of learning more about mental health, know that every we have a discussion. It's usually the last Wednesday of every month. It's usually from 7 to like about 8:39. It's a discussion on an issue having to do with mental health. Monthly newsletter, and the talks about different uh, types of a lot of prevention. And so on with in the Belizean community and ways of coping, ways of getting help. So if you want to continue this mental health journey, learning more about mental health, know that mental health is here to stay. Um, so Uruwei has put the number, but Pastor Agatha is right in our Dangriga community. Um, hey, Google Paulette Flores, you are find us some way. I will get in touch with Pastor
Is
Agatha.
is there a
Um,
Facebook page? I know where I have the number on the screen, folks, for those of you interested. Is there a Facebook page?
Yes, it's mental. I mean, MHA Dangriga. Yeah, MHA Dangriga is the
All
Facebook
right, folks.
page.
So you hear that? MHA Dangriga. Go check them out. Go like the page and stay connected. I think you were still saying something, Dr. P.
no, it's just that whole idea of we are here if we are here for you. If you're ready, good. If you're not ready, we'll be here for you when you're ready. Um, know that we want to provide that support for you as you learn about your mental health. As you learn about your mental health.
Well, Dr. P, Pastor Agatha, thank you so much. Thank you both for making the time to be here. And this is one of more to come because I look forward to inviting you again on this show, especially now that you're putting out the word. I know you will have more updates in the future with what mental health advocates in Dangriga are doing. So thanks again so much, folks. I want to thank each and every one of you for tuning in. Remember, we go live every Sunday at 4 p.m. This is Soul Fuel, and I'm yours truly, Cyril Uruwei. Thank you all for joining. Thanks again, Dr. P. Thanks
Thank you
again,
for having
Pastor
us.
Agatha.
Thank you.
You
Bye bye.
Ayo, yes. See, that me have to practice the Garifuna now, right?